Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Oh, my necklace is all screwed up. You know, I use my camera as a mirror if you haven't noticed. That's when I like fix everything. Not going to be a long intro. I know you guys are getting ready for the main event. Please be gentle. I do need to do, though, need the lettuce for the stew fetish. So I'm going to give you my support links, and then we're going to get right into it. So you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. I would really, really appreciate it. More so than you know. And also, of course, for some hot takes, you can follow me on Twitter, which is Karen Ann Harlos. And last but not least, I know you libertarians, you don't like to subscribe or do anything we tell you to do. So I'm telling you, don't subscribe to the channel. Just don't. And we'll see if that works. Maybe that will work. So what is the topic for today? The topic for today is the announcement that the Libertarian Party Chair, Angela McArdle, was able to secure the attendance of former President Trump at our national convention. There are some people who are very puzzled about the decision. There are some people who are thrilled about the decision, and then there are some people who are super upset. I want to lay some groundwork here. And if you don't meet this groundwork, this isn't the show for you. This groundwork is that there are good faith people on both sides of the issue. And we're going to treat each other with respect and understand that leadership was elected to make decisions, and you're not always going to like the decisions. I see Hannah Goodman from Colorado is here. She has heard me say this so many times. The Colorado board has made decisions I don't like. And you want to know what I've said to her? You guys are going to make some decisions I like. You're going to make some decisions I don't like. Let's talk about it. Let's hear each other out. And that is what this is about. If anyone here is to shout or be rude, this isn't the show for you. And that also includes being rude to others, no matter what side you are on in the chat. We're just not having that. This is going to be just a good libertarian discussion. That doesn't mean you can't bring objections. Also means you can't bring praise. I'm just saying, don't be an asshole. That's the rule. Don't be an asshole. So Dave Casey, if you're watching, it's an inside joke. I love Dave. It's an inside joke. Okay. Without further ado, we are bringing on Chair McCardle, hopefully. Yes, here we're both here.
Hello.
And the sound is good. Can you see the comment, the not our private chat, but the public comments?
Yeah, I don't usually look at those. It's
Okay, just some. I know. It's like at a meeting, right? But there will be probably questions on there. I'm keeping an eye on it as well. So if something really urgent comes up or something really interesting, I'll put it up on the screen. We have. Let me tell you who we have here so far. Just because we will recognize a lot of them, and we're getting quite a few viewers. So we have Greg Smith, Nolan Schmidt, Kathy Yanuskavich, Michael B., JJ, Hannah Goodman, Dave Davis, Trendlin Halsey, Trishy, let's see here, Samuel Bowler, and keep going, Luke Jolo, Casey Jones, David Ogg, Treat Gilbert, Anthony Christo, and I don't think I skipped anybody. There were multiple comments from the same people. So, okay, I'm letting you lead the way on this. So if you'd like to start off, and we'll just bounce some things off. And people, if you have questions, comments, I'm keeping an eye on the chat.
Well, we've been trying to get on the presidential debate stage for more than 50 years now. The Libertarian Party was founded in 1971. And it is now 2024. And I think that the party has definitely moved things in the Overton window in the direction of liberty. I think the party has had some really strong periods. I think we were stronger in the 80s and the 90s than we are now. And I would love to dig into the history of that, with you at some point in time. Because I do think it's relevant. Radicalism, and being not afraid to take risks. But, for 50 years we've been trying to get in the debate stage, and it's just not going to happen. And I don't think that the debate stage is going to exist in the next election cycle. I think the primaries will continue to have debates. But now Donald Trump has set the precedent that you don't have to show up to any of the debates. And it's happened at the same time that we've seen a rise of things like Joe Rogan's podcast, where politicians are more likely to engage one-on-one with someone to really get their ideas out, as opposed to a 2-minute timer, where you have some milquetoast centrist loser who carries water for the regime talking over you. We're not getting in the debates, and I don't think that I'm a jerk, or projecting loser energy for saying that. What I'm doing is I'm being creative. We're bringing the debates to us, and we can talk about, the mechanics of that and the logistics of that offline. And I highly encourage people to reach out to their state chairs if they haven't, because I had a state chairs meeting last Wednesday, and I'm holding another one this Wednesday, because we've been talking about, the minutia of it. And LNC members have been invited. Kathy in the comments has been there. I believe you were in the last meeting, weren't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, some of the cards I've had to hold close to my chest, because we have leaks, and, when you're dealing with sensitive PR stuff, you can't have it getting leaked. And we've definitely had some things mismanaged. But the reality is we are bringing a former president and person who is likely to be the next president of the United States to our debate stage to speak right after our candidates give their presidential debate. The media coverage of our candidates as well is going to be crazy. And the responses have been mixed, and there's been a lot of support. But the hate and low, like loser energy responses, the wailing, gnashing of teeth, throwing in the towel kind of energy has been really loud too. And it's unfortunate because our political opposition takes us much more seriously than we take ourselves. They are taking us deadly serious. The reason Donald Trump is coming to speak at our convention is because he knows he needs us, and that we, as the Libertarian Party, are the deciding vote. We decide how the election goes. And that doesn't mean we're throwing support behind him or giving him a nomination or a soft endorsement or an official endorsement. It means that people who normally vote for us, who might be worried that, hey, that's the most important election of our lifetime, they're going to be more inclined to vote for the people who signal our talking points and messaging. Votes, we had such high voter turnout for Gary Johnson, right? And it dropped significantly, I think, for Joe Jorgensen. And it was a kind of a crap year, with 2020 and the lockdowns, and it was harder to campaign. And Joe didn't have the same notoriety as Gary Johnson. And that's not her fault that she wasn't a governor. But I think that a lot of people have pulled back a little bit from third parties, or at least they did in 2020, because they were very gravely worried about the outcome of the election and felt that they couldn't do a protest vote. They had to vote for whatever they thought was going to, quote unquote, save democracy, right? And it's unsure if that's going to happen again this year. And it's very crowded in third parties. And it behooves us to do anything and everything that we can to push the Overton window in the direction of libertarianism, including influencing our political opposition. And that's what we always do. For those of you who lean into spoilers and saying we're the spoiler, we're going to spoil your elections. I know there are some of you who say that. Here we are, using the same tactic. But Karen Ann, I'm curious for your take on this. I mean, I could go on and on. It's just they're taking us deadly serious right now. They know how important we are, and they are begging for any support from us that they can get.
And what's funny, anyone who knows me wouldn't be surprised in this, and you'll attest to it. I was probably one of the more difficult sells. Like, I had pushback, and I'm on board. And why? It's so easy to give into this culture of fear. Oh my God, everyone's just going to think we're MAGA, or everyone's just going to think we're Republicans who smoke pot. Newsflash, people already think that. Oh, they're going to think it more. Do you think they're going to think it less if we don't? The fact is, drawing that much media attention then allows us to show that we're not. It gives the perfect opportunity to show that we're not. When else are we going to have the eyes of the media? Is it going to be risky? Of course it's going to be risky. Anything worth having requires a risk. All of a sudden, our convention is the place to be. That is just the fact. And you don't have to like the man. I'm not a fan of the uniparty or any other ways. Like, I reject the devil in all their ways type of thing. But the fact that a former president wants to come talk to us, not, oh, you libertarians, you want to talk to me? Come to my event. No, he's coming to our event. I'm not worried about Donald Trump stealing stealing I hate anyway. Your vote belongs to you and it's your business. But stealing any libertarian votes. I'm not worried about it. Why are we so scared about what he might say? The fact is, and in this I can talk knowledgeably on, when David Nolan founded the party, I really suggest everyone please Google right now the case for a libertarian political party. And there's a list of items on there that says why Nolan founded the party. And I know this is going to be offensive to some people, or they will say it's not applicable today, and I respect both of those positions. But guess what is not on the list of things for why he formed the party? Just take a guess. Electing candidates. That wasn't one of the reasons, because he knew the system was rigged. Now, do I think with the more influence we have now that we should be electing candidates? Yes, absolutely. I'm not denigrating that at all. But Nolan recognized that the way we're going to get real freedom for people, if we're about freedom, listen, I'm all about the party. I'm about one of the most partisan people you'll meet. But if we can get freedom for people, that's a difference we just made in the life of that one person. I'm going to get super, super cheesy here. So yeah, start cringing now, Angela. I actually have like a life silly story. And those of you who may not have heard it, it's called the starfish story. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Angela, but I'm going to tell it because I think it's apropos here. And you all can cringe. I don't care. So there's this man that's walking on the seashore and he sees millions of starfish stranded on the beach. And another person in the distance sees this man stepping down, picking something up and throwing it into the ocean. And as he gets closer, he just notices there's just millions of these. And he says to him, "Why are you bothering to try to throw them in one at a time? You can't possibly save them all." And the man picked up another one and said, "You're right, but I just made a difference to that one." We don't know what one liberty. Listen, unless there's a miracle, we're not winning the presidency. If that offends you, I think maybe you need to see a psychiatrist, because unless both candidates, God forbid, are no longer with us or an asteroid hits the earth, I don't know. That's the reality of the situation. I'm a realist. If we can influence the actual power brokers to adopt some of our positions, that's why Nolan said the party was formed, to move the Overton window, not to throw fits and go, but our purity. I'm one of the most purists that you will find, but I want freedom for somebody. We have a list of demands, and on that list of demands, there's a couple human beings mentioned. Julian Assange is mentioned. Ross Ulbricht is mentioned. What if, just trying to win us over, we were able to do something good for those people? Is your little upset worth keeping, punishing these people? Now, will that happen? I don't know, but there's a chance.
Yes.
There's a chance.
There's a good chance. I get it. Like, trying to hold a politician to their word, very challenging, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And the reality is that Donald Trump, for all of his flaws, he's been burned by the deep state. And he is going to be more sympathetic now than he was. And I don't know if he's going to surround himself by good people. And I'm going to recommend to him that there are people he surrounds himself with. But we should try. We should try very hard to persuade him to free Julian Assange. And we should talk about how the CIA was trying to murder Julian Assange during the Trump administration. We should talk about freeing Ross. We should talk about how the FBI targeted Ross Ulbricht. Donald Trump is going to be much more sympathetic to that than Joe Biden and probably than Ron DeSantis was, or anyone else from the swamp parties. There's a really good chance he's coming here. For those of you who don't know, he's coming here specifically to speak to our grievances. And there are people who are wailing and gnashing their teeth and going, "Oh, he'll just take the stage and say whatever he wants." No, because he already has a whole bunch of campaign stops where he can do that. And it wouldn't make any sense for him to come and just do that and then get booed, and then he just has a bad, it's a waste of his time. He has an agenda, and we have a separate agenda, but our agendas cross at one point, which is that we need to communicate to each other. And we both want to signal, that we need support, that these are particular values we care about. He's looking for overlap. So this is amazing. He and his team are watching a poll. They're watching our website. That's mind blowing. I know they are because I'm communicating with them. If nothing else, we're exposing his staffers to libertarianism. And when Donald Trump is gone in 4 years, I think there are going to be a lot of like MAGA America First people who are looking around going, what now? And I'd much prefer them vote libertarian than, whatever creature crawls out of the GOP next.
And people are like, oh, you're not going to change Donald Trump's mind.
Okay.
Okay, exactly. There's a story, I wish I looked this up, but there was this deep state agent that was infiltrating some freedom movement. I don't think it was the LP. It was some other freedom movement. And then came before Congress and chewed them out because his infiltration in that movement converted him.
There you go.
It's just like this really wonderful story, like that one black man that converted the Grand Wizard just by interacting with him to show him that black people are people. You never know. A pastor I respect said, "Put a stone in their shoe." Because they will feel that every single day that they walk. We are going to be putting stones in a lot of shoes. Will Trump get up there and say a bunch of things that like we libertarians and Republicans should get together? Yeah, he will. And I'm going to tell you something that some people won't like. In the future, there are issues we should get together on, just like we did with the left with the anti-war. We need to be open to these. Yes, we need to be open to these coalitions. We had a couple super chats I want to respect. So Sam Bowler had one, and he said, I'll read it if you can't see it. This looks like it will have a long-term impact for the party. How do you think it will affect us in the 2028 election?
I think it's going to help us tremendously. I think it's going to boost our vote count, our membership, and our attendance with people who genuinely align with us. People who are libertarians who want to see the party, quote unquote, take itself seriously. Now they are, because we're doing something that we just like never do lately, which is lean into our political power. We've got to lean into our power and not project a loser energy. People are going to see this and think, like that's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out. I think it is going to work out. I'm excited. Bill Perkins, I was talking with Bill Perkins about it. I have gotten support from Bill Perkins, from Eric Garris, from Jim Cantrell. Powerful, influential, successful people who have completely different libertarian flavors, if that makes sense, right? And, he said, how many people will show up to the convention? A pittance. How many people will hear his remarks in total? A pittance. Now, how many people are going to get exposed to the Libertarian Party as a result of this? Do the math. It's a tremendous amount of people. It's an amazing opportunity for us. People, I'm not afraid of being like associated by corporate media with Republicans. They already do that. They hate us. They're the enemy of the people. What matters is reaching people who are smart enough to not look at corporate media and to not make knee-jerk decisions on crappy corporate media. I worry sometimes, like some of the people who are screaming the loudest in objection about this. I'm like, are you a corporate media person? Like, come on, like, think better about the party and have some self-esteem in this. It's an amazing opportunity.
It's one of the most amazing, one of the most amazing opportunities I've seen. And again, I don't carry water for Republicans in the slightest. If Hannah is still out there, she is really, really laughing because she knows this better than most. And who do I coalition with in Colorado is the Green Party. Yeah. Like, and out of most of our circle of friends, I mean, Angela, you'll know, I lean way more left than most of our circle of friends. Yeah. But this is really, really tremendous. I did want to put up another super chat because I do want to respect these. Dave Davis says, I think a lot of libertarians are concerned that this will be taken as an endorsement by more than a few, quote unquote, Trumplicans.
But it's not an endorsement. I mean, it's explicitly not an endorsement. It's not an endorsement. No one who likes us is saying that it's an endorsement. Corporate media is going to say whatever they're going to say, but we're not putting anywhere that it's an endorsement. We're not nominating them. Yeah.
We're having a candidate debate right before him of our candidates.
Yes. Yes, on the same stage.
On the same stage. And the next day, we're nominating our candidate.
Yes. And the beautiful thing is that if media wants to come in to view the Donald Trump's addressing of our grievances, which it is, because he is addressing 10 talking points from us, they have to be in time to cover the debate. And that's the way that it goes.
Yeah, that was a condition, if I understand correctly. So
Yes.
I saw so many comments, and I don't understand these comments to begin with, and I'm not trying to disrespect anyone. I doubt C-SPAN's going to cover our debate. Are you
already agreed
I
to cover
know.
the debate.
I was like,
We have
are you
such
new
low
here?
self-esteem. Why do we think so poorly of ourselves that no one... I mean, if you think that, it's like just pack up and go home. If we think that no one cares and no one does, then it is a social club. And
they've always covered our debates. Like, go to the C-SPAN archives. You'll find a bunch of clips of me right before debates in 2016. So this whole, oh no, well, this media won't cover our debates. They already were before this invitation. But it was like C-SPAN, and listen, I'm a political junkie, so obviously I do watch C-SPAN. But let's be honest, it's mostly 50 grandmas sitting on their couch. The type of media that we are getting now for this is the type that more people watch than just C-SPAN. Now, I love C-SPAN. I think it serves an important function, but we're going to... Timcast is going to be there now.
Timcast will be there live doing a podcast. There's a lot of media coming. Shout out to C-SPAN, though. They are a convention sponsor.
Yes.
Thank
I
you,
love C-SPAN. They've always been good to us and covered us. So why people are saying C-SPAN's not going to cover your debates, I'm like, make it make sense, because they always have. And now they definitely will, plus other news organizations. So I'm going to... Feel free to keep going while I'm scrolling through comments to see if there's anything
we need to be fit as a party. This is sort of like our version of physical fitness. We're finding out that we're very out of shape. We don't come across as secure in our position of influence. We don't seem to have much faith in our own candidates or our beliefs, the ideology that undergirds our political party. We've got to lean into that and judo this and use your libertarian philosophy as a weapon, right? Like that's what we're doing. We're out here trying to wield liberty. It's amazing. It's amazing that a presidential candidate is saying, you care so much, I have to come to your convention and talk about your issues. That's never happened in the history of the country.
And I've seen multiple comments asking certain security questions. I think libertarians are smart enough to know that we can't discuss that on air.
Yeah,
that is literally insane to be asking security questions on a YouTube channel. I'm sorry, but the average member is not entitled to that information, except to know that security is being taken care of and nobody is being put in danger.
We do have security. We were going to probably have that anyway, though, and it's a small team. There's hotel security, there's Secret Service, there's our security. No, our security bill isn't exorbitant. The hotel recommended we have security regardless, and I was able to negotiate something down and use the same team that we used for the Rage Against the War Machine rally. They're local, they're professional. And contracts and all that kind of stuff, we can't talk about that. I will say, though, that we're not going to make this like a giant nightmare. It's going to be as easy on the delegates as possible. So if we have to have any kind of checks or anything, I'm going to not have it so that you clear out of your room and take all your crap and go into another room. We're going to make it as easy on you guys as possible. Let's talk about the concern that this is going to be a MAGA rally.
Yes, please. But before you do, I just love this question. Can we get him to buy us Chick-fil-A shakes?
Oh my gosh. Or Big Macs.
Yes, or Big Mac. I mean, I'm there for that. I'm like, and I know he loves it too. So, I'm there for that.
I'll ask. I'll make the ask. I'll make the ask.
Okay, so on to the other thing.
Not an in-kind donation. Do I need to report that to the FEC? I guarantee you, I'm going to get an email now. Angela didn't report the Big Macs. They got 50 Big Macs.
So, is this going to be a MAGA rally?
No. So right now, with with the way that the room is configured, the most people we can get in is 2,000 people. And convention committee and I are still moving this around. One member in particular who, God bless him, has been just like an absolute, saving grace. Who's good with, the little CAD software, moving things around and whatnot for the convention room. So our delegates and alternates, what's the total number, Karen Ann? Do you know the total number?
Okay, I should know this. Oh my God, you just put me.
Guess that maybe we
Yeah, I could give you some guesses. In general, the total number of possible delegates is always between about 1045 and 1057. So let's just round that to 1050 as total number of possible delegates. But some states are not sending full delegations, so I would put that number around 1,000. As far as alternates, possible alternates, 500.
Okay.
That's my good guesses, just from looking at credentials and things like that.
So let's include also staff and media, and volunteers with presidential campaigns who are not necessarily delegates. Let's say we're going to have around 1,400 libertarians at the convention, plus media. And then the room can hold 2,000 people. So that's 600 extra people. So we are the 2/3 majority. I mean, there you go. We're the majority. So no, it doesn't look like a MAGA rally. But what if they take signs? Well, we can take signs too, and just very politely hold up a sign.
Yeah,
and I to do that.
Look at that list of issues that President Trump has agreed to address, and maybe get some signs printed with your issue on it. Hey, if you want to start an End the Fed chant, go right ahead.
Oh, we definitely need to. We definitely need an End the Fed chant.
Free Ross chant. Pardon Julian Assange. What is your issue? And here's something that wasn't really brought to the forefront, but is near and dear to a lot of our hearts, is even though that's not like one of the major subjects we're talking about tonight, I don't care what you think about the 2020 election. I don't care whether you think it was stolen or not. I have different opinions from my friends. I'm not trying to inflame anyone here, so I won't tell anyone my opinion. But the fact is, because of that, the idea of election fairness is coming to the forefront. And it is something, even if it's for selfish reasons, that Donald Trump cares about. We certainly care about it. Now, we don't care. We wish we had enough votes to have an election stolen, but we have elections stolen in different ways. We have elections stolen by not having our names on the ballot to begin with. And to have someone who doesn't view us as completely just hostile asses, maybe we can get some relief for some of these states. Maybe not, but nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yep. Yeah, it's like he doesn't view us as like the political elites. We're not the elite enemy class. We're just political opposition. So also, Donald Trump is not the only other candidate who's been invited. Kennedy may still speak. So we've been working things out with him. He had something happen in his campaign, I think Thursday or Friday that, they were busy dealing with, so he didn't get back to me yet. But that's a possibility still. Afro Man has been invited, and I know that he is a darling in the party. People love him. He is running independent of the LP. I did not see a problem with having him come and do music at an after party, but I did invite him. I invited him. It's an unofficial convention thing I invited him to, though. A lot of invitations have gone out. A lot of these people also feel the pain of ballot access. And I think what you're seeing here is a convergence around voter suppression, ballot access, general struggles to get votes, and to feel that, election integrity, all of it, it's all kind of coming together. And we're the tip of the spear on that. And people recognize that. They're like, well, these guys are the experts. They've been doing this for 50 plus years. Even if they're not going to seek our nomination, they kind of want to be friends. They want our approval. They want our advice and our opinions. And so, we're the authority in the room. I think it's awesome. It doesn't mean that everybody, gets to come up and give a stump speech and that's it. We get a ton of media publicity. We get some things that maybe I'm not going to talk about on the live stream, but we get a lot out of this.
And, okay, let's assume the worst. That everyone's nightmares come true. You get Trump up there for an hour. He just talks about what he wants to talk about. It's nothing we could possibly ever agree about, and he leaves. We have the whole weekend with media there. If you don't think that media will cover libertarians being unhappy with some things said, you must think that the media loves Trump. I would love to know what planet you live on, because they are going to be hungry to find people to say something negative, because that's just how they are. I know people go, the media hates CLP, and I agree with you, but I think they hate Trump more. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of your everyday libertarians that are going to be interviewed, and people are going to associate us with this and that. You want to know something? Very low information people that will just believe anything they read, they're never going to come to our party to begin with.
They do not come to our party. We occasionally get protest votes from those types, but we're not a low information voter party.
Right. We're just not. And I know I'm an unusual in this, but people like me do happen. I heard the word libertarian. Well, I actually used it in a sentence, but I obviously used it because I heard it and realized I didn't know what it meant really. And I looked it up, and I became a libertarian simply by reading the platform. Our website after this, with all of the news coverage, the hits are going to be phenomenal. And there will be people who read our platform and go, no, this is nothing like MAGA. Actually, this is something I've been thinking for years. And my God, there's somebody else. I'm not crazy.
They're going to be like, oh, that's so much better than MAGA. I liked like a couple of things about it, but I could never really swallow the whole thing. Now I found my home, like I liked the freedom thing, but then the China thing, that was weird. And I don't understand this death penalty for drug dealers and on and on. And then they find us. Like we have to look for the smart ones.
Yes.
The other thing I kind of want to pose like a rhetorical question or something for people to think about is, what was a moment in the LP that you felt proud of? What did you view as like a significant accomplishment for the party? Because when I ask people this question, they don't usually have a lot of answers. They might say like the Gary Johnson voter turnout, or they might talk about their own like personal campaign they ran. And they're great. But for the party, like other than Gary Johnson, what is an accomplishment that we've had that our members can name? And it's not a lot of things. I'm not saying there aren't accomplishments, but we don't seem to think of anything through that lens, which is a bummer, And so, like, let's start stacking some wins and things you can be proud of. And getting the frickin' former president of the United States to come want to talk to you and to fly out when he's got other places he could be, that's a hell of an accomplishment.
Particularly since, like, this isn't a stadium of 20,000 people. Yeah. Which is what he's used to. He's coming to talk to us. You don't have to like him, but to not see that as historic, I just don't understand that at all. It's just crazy to me that we can get all of these eyeballs in front of us. It's up to us to make the most of it. So those of you who are saying, oh, I'm going to say this is no secret because people have been saying this online. Oh, I'm just going to reserve a seat and then I'm not going to show up. Well, we're not stupid. We'll have a backup list. All of the seats will end up getting filled. And if you're worried about a MAGA person there, then make sure there's a libertarian butt in that seat. You're not doing anyone a favor by that. But it doesn't matter. This is going to give an unprecedented opportunity for the party, and I'm here for it. Doing the historical stuff, I realized like in the 80s, we got so much more press than we did now. Yes. We are virtually ignored now. Yes. And who's owning the word libertarian is you'll hear it every once in a while on Fox, and Wayne will tell you, I just start screaming and twitching at the television. No, We're going to take back our word. You know, we are libertarians. You're coming to talk to us as libertarians.
Yes.
And that is a good thing. Now, I understand people's worries. They're not illegitimate. So let's all work together to make that not happen, because there is such a thing as a self-fulfilling prophecy. So
Yes.
do you care about the party and you want us to succeed? Well, how about working together to make the most of this opportunity, even if it's not a decision you personally would have made? The decision has been made. Let's work together to make it the best that we possibly can.
Yeah. We got to put our best, most powerful face forward in this. Free Ross chants, in the Fed chant, all that good stuff. That's what needs to come through and really shine through. This is a total power move, and I invite you all to lean into the incredible amount of political power that you're about to wield. The future of the country, perhaps it's in our hands.
I do think that this can be a stepping stone to something so much bigger. But now let's address some of the things I think are pretty ridiculous. Angela, are you and I just secret Trump supporters that are trying to get Trump elected and then maybe absorb the LP into the Republican Party? I mean, that's what I've heard, so it must be true.
Gosh, how much insane work would that be? No, I don't have the bandwidth to do that. I just like, my gosh. I had a really good Soho Forum debate against Donald Trump and in favor of Joe Jorgensen back in 2020. And I mean, Joe Jorgensen, people have a lot of, different feels, but I argued very articulately that she was a better candidate, and I won the debate. I recommend people look that up, Soho Forum. We need to encourage Donald Trump and Joe Biden, if he accepts, to be more libertarian. But no, there's no plot to dissolve the LP into the GOP. How does that work? It's like if people sit around and they spin up these ideas. I'm just like, my gosh, don't you have like laundry and like job and lawn to care for? I mean, you could, like Angela's got a conspiracy to get us to turn into a chess club or to work with NASA. Like, it could be anything. And it's like, well, I guess since I don't have solid evidence refuting that it's not, it could be true. It's so absurd. Touch grass. I'm going to bring grass to the 2020.
And you don't mean the Colorado kind.
You could definitely touch that one too. Any grass. Something green, like unplug.
But I was going to say, Angela, to that.
Joining the GOP is the most shit take I have ever heard.
Well, the pink-haired demographic is just so large for the GOP.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just an obvious Republican plant. Pink-haired anarchist, they're so hot right now in the GOP.
I mean, another practical thing, I'm just like beside myself with annoyance when people do this, because there's so many other obvious problems in the party, but then we'll jump to this. Like, look at, no offense, I know he has some bad takes, I would still say we're friends. Look at how Austin Peterson was received when he jumped to the GOP. He got the same vote percentage in his statewide Senate race that I got in my congressional race as a Libertarian, 8.5%. It is not a successful path to jump from the LP to the GOP. We are not well received. That's just not how it works politically. The LP is not a successful stepping stone to the GOP.
There might be some small errors, because I know we're going to get some pushback from some New Hampshire people. New Hampshire is an aberration. New Hampshire is different than everywhere else. I think we all know that. But in 99.9% of the cases, you are exactly 100% right. In my town council race, I got almost 8%, I think, if I remember correctly.
The magic number.
Yeah, but listen, I was happy with that. I got the word out. Maybe
we'll do better after we gain some political relevance, and especially in 4 years, you know, if Donald Trump is elected and then he goes, like, what's left, you know, for people who are like populist right wingers? There's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's not going to be presidential material, and also gets a little weird. And like there's like 5 good people in the GOP out of 535 of them at the national level. That's not stellar numbers, and I'm including Matt Gaetz in that. So it's like, you know, I just wish people would be like, you know, realistic in their criticisms and conspiracies. A far better conspiracy is that Donald Trump gave me $10 million, which I want to believe it more than anyone else. But yeah, considering that the sound wall is not finished back here on my wall, that the $10 million check is not yet.
Yeah, the $10 million check bounced. And everyone's like, well, how much did you pay Trump to be there? That's another question.
I guess we'll see on the FEC reports when they come out, the giant Donald Trump payroll. Anyway.
We paid him in Big Macs.
Yeah. We paid him rolls of dimes. I am going to have to wrap up soon and go fun baby boy. I've been doing a lot of LP work this weekend.
I know, we've been together a lot of today.
I also have some emotions and lemonade for some trial prep for a case I'm working on outside of the LP. I have a tiny little sliver of non-LP work that I've got to do.
Crap, there was something else I wanted to say and I don't remember what. So let me just flip quickly through comments before. I know what it was. I'm going to say something that's going to get people mad. I'm going to pull up Ben Shapiro first, even though, oh God, has he like lost his mind? Candace Owens is having his lunch, but history does not care about your feelings. When the LP first started, one of the first big mentions we got was in this book called New Right-Wing Movements of America. I don't believe in the left-right spectrum. I think we're completely outside of that. But in most political science characterizations, they characterize American libertarianism as a movement of the right.
Yeah, because it's economically conservative.
Right, they do. Now, European libertarianism is something entirely different. It's usually anarcho-communism, but an American libertarianism. And we don't have to like that characterization. I don't. As I said, I'm one of the more, I think I'm probably on the LNC the most closer to the left than any of the other members. Maybe not. There's a few I'm thinking of, but maybe not. I'm more center left than center right. But the fact is, in general, American libertarianism is considered a more of a right-wing movement. Like it or not. That doesn't mean people who think differently aren't welcome. I obviously think differently. So that was just another fact I want to bring up, because it just seems like, and I could be wrong, that a lot of this anger from one particular segment would not exist if it was Biden that accepted the nomination. Yeah. Now a whole other segment of the party would be mad. I'm not saying people wouldn't be mad, but it is just this knee-jerk reaction against one opposing spectrum. I like to think I hate them both pretty equally. The spectrum's not the people. I try to judge people as people, but the ideologies, I don't like either of them. That's why I'm a libertarian. But we are not in power. And another weird analogy, you know, in the past, back when women didn't have many rights, women still wielded a lot of power. How did they do it? Because they manipulated and got to the people who had the power. They were the power behind the power. And right now, and I'm going to give you a Game of Thrones reference, was it Littlefinger that said to Tyrion, "A small man can cast a very long shadow"? That's what we are doing right now. We are casting a very long shadow proportional to our size, and we should be here for it. Opportunities aren't perfect. Like I often say, like with police victims, people will say, you know, when there was this awful beating or something, oh, well, that guy was on drugs or that guy did this. I go, you know, there's no such thing as the perfect victim. They're still a victim. There's no such thing as the perfect opportunity or the perfect victory. We got to take what's put before us and make the most of it. Sorry, I got on my soapbox.
I know, I love it. All right, well, I'm going to go grab baby boy.
All right, thank you so much, Angela. Maybe we will do another one as more conspiracies spring up. But I hope you have an awesome night, and kiss Arthur for me.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they want to